here we're going to retrace the steps of James Clerk Maxwell, and we're going to see how he calculated the speed of an electromagnetic wave and made the connection that light was indeed a manifestation of electricity and magnetism. Light. So let's get to it. Maxwell went through some very, very, very difficult, arduous lengths of calculus to reach the point where he could incorporate the constants epsilon and mu into his equations, or as you'd know them to be from reading the article, they are the permittivity of free space and the permeability of free space, or constants to do with how easily electric fields and magnetic fields can form in a vacuum. And each of these is equal to, I'm about to write that down, 8.8542 times 10 to the negative 12, and the units for epsilon are coulomb squared per Newton meters squared. And then mu is 4 pi times 10 to the negative 7. The units for this are Weber per amp meters. And this is essentially one of the last equations which Maxwell got up to, which was 1 on v squared equals epsilon times mu naught. Now, what are we going to do with these three things? Well, we're going to figure out what the speed of light is by first figuring out the speed of an electric and magnetic wave. So, here's what we're going to do. Just going to move that to the top. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this equation here, and we're going to flip it. So, v squared equals 1 on epsilon naught mu naught. We still have that v squared. We want to find the velocity of the electromagnetic wave. So, here. Now, subbing in our values, we find that v is equal to the square root of 1 over 8.852 times 10 to the 12 times 4 pi times 10 to the negative 7. And if you put that into your calculator, which I'll give you a second to do, you get a very interesting and recognizable number. And I'm doing that right now. Okay. Because you do get 2,997 92251 29,792,251.8 meters per second, or 2.99 times 10 to the negative 8 if you're going for three significant figures. This is actually the speed of light. And Maxwell thought it was a very interesting result for him to see. Actually, that should be 3, because there is a 7 before that 9. So it is 3 times 10 to the negative 8. It was a very interesting result for Maxwell because because the speed of light at this point was already known. But this is a new discovery to find the speed of an electromagnetic wave. Well, he was the first person to believe that electricity and magnetism were able to be unified under one umbrella of laws and phenomena. So this was new. This was, although a recognizable number, it was also a new number, and it was a meaningful number because now it meant two things. This number now had something exceptional to do with light, and it now had something newly discovered and exceptional to do with electromagnetism. And that was the exact same thing, that the speed of light is the same as the speed of electromagnetic waves. Now, if you think about this, and we're talking about two things that seem different, but they're essentially the same thing. Waves carry energy. Light is both a particle and a wave. So light travels as a wave, and it carries energy. And electromagnetic waves are such that they don't need a medium to travel through, much like light. And remember, up until this point, nobody knew how light traveled. Nobody knew how light traveled through the vacuum of space. They thought that there was something called a luminiferous, hope I've spelled that right, aether. They thought that there was an indetectable mesh or material through which light, and only light, could travel and propel itself through space, because light is essentially the only thing we see reaching Earth from space. So they thought that there was a medium through which light had to travel, because it was a wave, and waves need mediums. But now there's also electromagnetic waves. And as we would continue to develop scientifically, we'd find that there's a lot of electromagnetic radiation in space. So does the luminiferous ether share itself and lend itself to both electromagnetism and light? Well, Maxwell concluded no. It's not that the medium through which these waves must travel through is a shared one, but rather this medium, there's no proof of this medium. We know that these two phenomena, electromagnetism and light, have the same speed. And we know that they both are not waves in the traditional sense of water rippling or sound in the vibration in particles in the air. We know that they're not mechanical waves. So much in the same way that Maxwell made conclusions without experimentation about the likeness of electricity and magnetism by amending the fourth equation with no experimental values, using only thought experiments and mathematical intuition. He used intuition to say light is an electromagnetic wave. And this is the perception that is held in modern physics.